Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. We are back once again with the Pro Wrestling Spotlight presents Tru Heel Heat 76. On this edition of Tru Heel Heat, we will be discussing a huge AEW debut last night on Dynamite. We will be discussing an NXT star coming over to SmackDown, week 32 of the Wednesday Night War, as well as we will be giving you a very special, our own personal, the three of us, our own personal top three happiest moments in wrestling history, because we need to put smiles on wrestling fans' face after a very sad and rough week. But let me introduce my co-host. We have, first of all, the princess of all the true heels, Miss Krssi Love.
Hello,
Burr,
hello,
burr,
hello,
burr,
everybody.
burr.
And we have our resident true heel alcoholic. This is Top Guy JJ.
You goddamn right. You see,
Woo!
we in
Bah,
sync
bah, bah,
here. We in sync
bah.
here. I'm seeing you from that side. The true heels are together. You see, we in sync here. I don't know what we
Word,
got.
yo. Don't jinx it, man. Don't jinx it.
Hey, you guys didn't send me the memo, so it's all good. So we got a first, like last week, like 75, where we talked about and remembered Chad Gaspar. We have another sad note from the wrestling world before we get into anything. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to the family and the friends of Stardom superstar Hana Kimura. Unfortunately, Hana Kimura committed suicide over this past weekend. She was a contestant on the reality show Terrace House, which is available on Netflix over in Japan. And apparently, she got into a dispute with one of the housemates in the house of Terrace House, where he damaged one of her ring gear, a very special ring gear in her career. It was the same ring gear that she wore for the first ever women's match that took place at the Tokyo Dome this past January at Wrestle Kingdom. He damaged that attire. She slapped him across the head, almost knocked his hat off. And basically, the fans of Terrace House then got into very cruel, vile type of cyberbullying, basically telling her that they wanted her to kill herself. And that's what the story kind of ended off like. She basically drank something that made her pass away. It's a very troubling and very sad story. You know, so much negativity in the world, to have that in like our wrestling world after just recently losing Chad Gaspar. It was some very sad news. But so my request to everyone watching here: be a part of the change, be a part of the positivity in this wrestling community. Please stop cyberbullying. Like, your words mean a lot more than you can ever imagine. So I'm just going to request everyone watching this, please become a part of the cause to stop cyberbullying. Anything you guys want to say before we get into our roll call?
Um, it's just sad to see that, people out here still bullying people online. Like, you can't be an online gangster. You can't be an online thug. It's not cool. And you trying to bring someone else down is not cool itself. And the word you will get is karma. You will get it'll come back to you for what you are doing to others. It's not nice and it's not fair that you can now get off on like being mean to others. It's not cool. And it's so sad that she didn't have, someone that she probably could have like called, or just someone to help her out in that time where she is like feeling at her, maybe at her lows. I don't know, but for her to like take her life because she couldn't take what was happening anymore was just really, really sad. And I send my condolences and prayers to her family, because it's sad. It's really, really sad, and it sucks, and it's not nice.
Yeah. Here's the unfortunate part about knowing people that's in the wrestling community is they don't separate a lot of the times real life and wrestling. They literally there's so many people that is on the internet. Like, we would rip each other all the time when it comes to wrestling jokes and just talking stuff about each other, and we know how to separate real life and wrestling. We know when to become brothers, and we know when to become heels. We know when to become brother and sister, and we know when to become heels. There's too many people in the wrestling culture that don't know how to separate it.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we can do it because we know each other, but that's why, like, personally, I take so many distant breaks from Facebook and from things like that, because people don't ever know what you're dealing with in the real life realm, and then they'll just jab at you at any moment's notice. And not that like a person like you can't take it, but it's just like, do you want to even tolerate it? And she's in the world. She's in the profession. She was in the professional world, and rest in peace to her and condolences to her family and everything, because you never know what they're dealing with. Like, that was probably the most special moment of her life. And then somebody, just because he wanted to have an ego trip, just stripped it away from her. Like, that was like a monumental thing for her, to have some ring gear for the first ever women's match in her native country. Like what is, it's like people don't get these things. And it's like, just because you want to have a show out and you're going to do this at the expense of somebody not knowing what their status is. The bullying is horrible. Like, it's really horrible to a point where it's like, you know, it makes you question how many people even know the difference.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's really sad. And when people lose their lives, like we just literally 1 episode ago just celebrated the life of one of the most heroic brothers that we've ever met. And then literally now we're talking about celebrating or just mentioning another person that we lose in the wrestling world. And it's, what is it going to take? What is it going to take?
I think the saddest part about this is that she was only 22 years old. And if you know anything about Stardom Wrestling, Stardom Women of Wonder, they have produced some of the best professional wrestlers in women's wrestling today. Asuka, Kairi Sane, Io Shirai. So that's how I got exposed to Stardom, and I discovered Hana Kimura. And I said to a lot of people that follow Stardom or follow the Japanese pro wrestling, she was the next big star to break out from Stardom. So it's very sad that cyberbullying is the cause of her losing her life, taking her life away from words online. So just be a part of the cause and stop cyberbullying. If that's the biggest message that we can give away from Tru Heel Heat 76, I hope you can get that from us. But before we get into everything, we bring you back up, talk about the light side of the pro wrestling world, go through our Tru Heel roll call. This is your little quick reminder. Drop us with a like if you enjoyed this video, push the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. And to bring it up with a little bit of positivity, we got to go into our Tru Heel roll call. Our Tru Heel roll call is where we shout out you, the viewers, the supporters, the listeners of Tru Heel Heat, as well as our supporters online on Facebook, Twitter, as well as our YouTube channel. Our top 3 conversation starters, our Tru Heel Trinity, are as follows. Coming in at number 3 again is a New Japan aficionado, James Wims. Coming in at number 2 is the host of the Romeo Report, the co-host of True Rewind.
Oh, shit, son!
Romeo Anthony Colon dropped back down to number 2. So back at number 1 again is the Negro Buck, Nick Jackson.
My man stepped it up, bro. New number, got your spot back, cuz. Got your spot back.
He took his spot back. He heard you talking crap on Tru Heel.
Yeah, last week, yep.
So a couple of Tru Heels we got to shout out. Tyler Ireland, KN Carlton, Corey Cheeks, Carlton James, Neil Benedict, Matt Martin, Sal Phoenix, and Stephen Mack. So a couple of the Tru Heels, they're up on the Tru Heels group page, supporting us on there. And our YouTube channel, our subscribers, and one of our new subscribers, SNV Productions, as well as someone who's been contributing a lot to the comments section, Jameer Moore. So shout outs to you guys. Of course, if you guys want to get shout out, if you want to hear your name mentioned on Tru Heel Heat, drop us a comment down below. I know guys like Kwame as well as Kayfabe Tactics are always leaving us comments, always getting into good conversations in the comment section below. So join the talk during Tru Heel Heat 76. So let's get into what we missed. But before that, I forgot the biggest thing I want to mention. Before we get into anything, thank you, the viewers, the supporters of Tru Heel Heat. We have just reached 500 subscribers to our YouTube channel. Thank you very much. We reached our goal. Our goal was to hit 500 subscribers by the end of May. It is right now May 28th, so we have reached that goal. So help us on our march to 600. We are steadying along. We want to go for the big numbers, and we are going to try to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of this year. What do you guys think about that?
Ooh, I think that is very doable, friend. We
It
got
is
this.
It is
You can do
very
it.
doable and is reachable because of you guys watching this right
Yes.
now. So share this video, subscribe, like it, help other wrestling fans get involved. So let's get into what we missed. What we missed, the biggest thing what we missed was AEW Double or Nothing. We previewed, we gave our predictions last week on Tru Heel Heat 75. So what happened on the show? The Stadium Stampede happened, and it might have been one of the best matches of the year and the most fun anyone has had during this whole quarantine era in professional wrestling. Moxley defeated Brody Lee to defend the AEW World Title. Cody wins the TNT Championship, defeating Lance Archer. Shida is the new AEW Women's Champion. None of us predicted that one, defeating Nyla Rose.
That's crazy.
And it was because all of our minds over the last couple of weeks has been on the WWE releases, the Black Wednesday releases. None of us predicted that Brian Cage would be the mystery participant in the Casino ladder match, and he is now the number one contender for the AEW World Title. So we'll start off with you, Miss Krssi Love. What was your thoughts on AEW Double or Nothing? But more importantly, what was your thoughts on the Stadium Stampede?
I actually thought that the show was good, even though I had to go and try to rewatch it because I was distracted because there was another thing going on. However,
Was that Beanie versus Bounty?
it was. So I mean,
Jesus.
listen, I was multitasking. I had both of them on. Okay, thank you.
That shit was tunes, big tunes.
Big tunes, big things, man. You know how much money people would pay for a ticket for that? Anywho,
Man.
I digress. Wow, see, Dad, don't want us to be great, man.
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Go ahead.
I thought the Stadium Stampede was fantastic. I loved it. It was better than that crap that they called the Money in the Bank. That they could have done much better with that whole corporate thing if they just did it, you know. Anywho, I thought it was excellent. I enjoyed the show. I thought the show was solid. And then again, for what we are going through right now, I think they gave us a great show. And I thoroughly enjoyed the stadium. First of all, how do you have a pool in your stadium? How much is that ticket? Can you just randomly just get in the pool? Like, do I buy my ticket that says pool? Like, you know,
a pool with the water from the Lake of Reincarnation.
I mean, just saying.
I mean, they are in Jacksonville, so they definitely needed to get something to cool the people down, you know?
How about you?
I thought it was amazing.
What was your thoughts on Double or Nothing?
It was an interesting pay-per-view. It to me was like a heart rate. It was kind of like up and down.
Mm-hmm.
It was up and down for me. The TNT title match was actually just it was pure comedy for me. Like it was it was pure comedy.
So you kept looking at Mike Tyson, that's why.
Yeah, match was pure comedy.
I was like, why
the rest,
here?
the Nyla, the Shida and Nyla match really surprised me. Like it really surprised me. It was actually a really well sold match. Like it was really well done. Like I was really pleasantly surprised by that match. It was really nice. It was really, really good to see. But the highlight of the show, my God, Stadium Stampede, crowd, no crowd, pandemic, no pandemic, was one of the funnest matches I have ever seen in my motherfucking life. That was, oh my God, like this is how you create theater in wrestling.
I'm happy there was no crowd because I don't think they would have been able to do it like that.
It's like one of those things, and it's like I don't want to mention the other place, but it's like if you want to do something, let the wrestlers make it as authentic as possible, and just let them have fun with it. Let them do it instead of literally overproducing it, overstaging it, making everything look super scripted. That's what Stadium Stampede was. Stadium Stampede had fun at the bar, it had fun at the pool, it had fun in the benches, it had fun with. We saw a motherfucking horse. We saw a motherfucking horse. Fucking Hangman ran the entire goddamn football field. He ran he did a kick return into a clothesline. Like it was just, and then you see my man Matt is getting drowned, and you see as the Matt facts come up.
No, the matter of fact.
It's like holy, it's like yo, this is so dope. Like, and to end it, one of the best endings I've ever seen in a match. Like that one-winged angel off the stadium, like the balcony. Oh my god! Like this was just beautiful. It was so well done. The Judas effect on the mascot. like we could literally talk about this one match for literally a half hour. And we would probably still miss stuff. It was amazing. It was simply amazing. And I'm gonna just leave it at that because I will keep going.
I think our Double or Nothing roundtable review went a little bit longer because we had a lot to say about the Stadium Stampede. Our friends Romeo and Marcus Cash, they don't agree. They agree with us to a point, but they don't view it as a match.
What do they view it as?
They said Romeo said it's the best Stampede he ever saw.
Stampede,
I think like a lot of wrestling fans, or Jim Cornettes of the world, they can't accept that wrestling can evolve. And we have evolved into cinematic matches. It was introduced to us through Lucha Underground, who never really did a cinematic match. They just did all their stuff around the wrestling cinematically. And then we had Broken Universe with everything being cinematic. Then it was the Boneyard match, the Firefly Funhouse, Money in the Bank. Now we have this. It's just time to accept it. But out of all of those cinematic things that I just named, this is the GOAT. Yeah. This is the GOAT.
This is it.
Nothing just hard hitting, the spots, the comedy, the humor, every note that they had to hit on this, they hit it, and they hit it precisely. And that's why this is one of my matches of the year. I can't say it's for sure the match of the year. It's definitely the match of the night. It's definitely the highlight of the year. It's probably the one thing I will remember from 2020, especially from this pandemic era. But I just feel it's definitely worthy of being a match of the year candidate.
But my only question to that is that you're saying that they can say something about this is not a great wrestling match. So what's the difference between that and a Falls Count Anywhere match?
I brought that up. I was like, did you think
it's the same thing?
It's the exact same term. They had a wrestling ring in a football field.
Yep.
Like, it's
they intended to have it as a wrestling match.
They couldn't even respond to me alone coming up with logic holes in their argument. So I'm going to leave that there. But I will agree with Top Guy JJ on one thing that is not really talked about a lot from Double or Nothing. Nyla Rose. When it comes to the AEW women's division, that the one thing about AEW that has gotten the most criticism when it comes to as a character on the mic, Britt Baker is the GOAT. She is the MVP. But when it comes to in the ring, no one has been better than Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose is a green performer. I'm not saying she's the best professional wrestler. She's not even top 25 women's wrestlers. But when it comes to the AEW women's division, you put Nyla and a good worker, it's probably going to be one of the best matches of the night. She did it with Rio twice. She did it with Shida at Double or Nothing. This would have been the match that exceeded the expectations the most. But there was MJF versus Jungle Boy, which blew me away.
It was a great show. It really was. Yeah. We spent a lot of time, but yes. You should give your thoughts on that one.
The only weak part I would say is the middle portion. The Cody and Archer did not go off too well. Statlander versus Ford. That was, the Ford was replacing Baker. They didn't have a lot of time to work on that. They're both right. And then Sean Spears versus Dustin was comedy that just missed
me off. That pissed me off. That shit pissed me off. That match pissed me off.
We got to give you the real analysis here. We got to talk about the bad and the good and the great. So you heard it all from Double or Nothing. What else did we miss?
Any thoughts on the title match?
I loved Moxley.
I thought it was actually good. Yeah.
That was Moxley. If you said, okay, Dean Ambrose without the whole WWE cartoonishness, Luke Harper without the whole Wyatt family thing, just two great brawlers having a world title match. That was perfect. But the biggest thing from that, Moxley just wrestles like he's a man possessed. Like he is trying to keep out of our mind the memory of Dean Ambrose. And he has been doing it, especially on pay-per-view, whether it was the Full Gear match with Omega, the match a couple of months ago with Jericho, and now this one. And then this was the perfect type of world title match in that the guy that lost was actually the guy that got more over in this match. Because Brody Lee,
bam.
Like a main.
You nailed it right there. I was literally waiting for you to end the segue to say this was the perfect title match because the loser end up looking stronger. Like it's like when you can end a storyline and segue into something else and keep that Dark Order looking as strong as it is. Bravo to both the winner and the fucking loser, because that's how you fucking do it.
And it's just sad that they didn't see this potential in these two men. You know what I'm saying?
It happens. But
it happens. But I totally agree with what both of you guys said. I think it was great storytelling. I think he made Luke Harper looked great, and he became the winner at the end. Even if he did, bro, damn it!
Get that name out of your system. It is Brody Lee, the Exalted One. How dare you disrespect him like that,
Mr. Brody, Mr. Brody Lee.
I'm sorry.
Number 12 is coming to your house soon.
So, one final note from Double or Nothing. What was your guys' thoughts on the partnership and the debut of Brian Cage and his partnership with Taz?
I didn't even see this coming, man. I was very shocked and surprised. I was like, oh, okay. This is what we're doing? Okay, great. And Taz, and have Taz like written in the storyline, perfect.
I see a nice version of Brock Heyman 2.0. That's basically what it like. Cage is gonna be the badass ass kicker, and then you got the legendary mouthpiece in Taz, because his promo fit Cage's style like a glove. Like he speaks Brian Cage's style, and that shit was like, damn, that shit works.
I thought everything about the partnership was perfect. Like they foreshadowed it with Taz trying to give the advice to Darby, and then Darby was the guy who's trying to climb the ladder as Cage is coming out, and then just him using his old catchphrase: "So beat Cage if you can, survive if
he lets you."
Absolutely. Worked perfectly. That just worked perfect, and I'm looking forward to Taz and Moxley on the mic for sure.
Facts.
So, what else we miss on SmackDown, the home of SmackDown with the Lynches? AJ Styles is now officially on SmackDown as he and Jeff Hardy move on in the Intercontinental title tournament. Over on Raw, we had fans are in the crowd. It was the NXT developmental trainees are in the crowd. They're behind a plexiglass with no chairs. With no chairs. And Nia Jax.
So bad with them.
Nia Jax wins a 3-way to become the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title.
So annoyed.
JJ, what's your thoughts on AJ going over to SmackDown?
I guess it's going to give me a reason to start watching SmackDown a little bit more, because I still do believe AJ has a lot to bring to the table, and he can create a lot of really good rivalries with the people that's there. Obviously, except for the Braun Strowman thing, I don't think Braun and him are a good pairing. So when Strowman loses his title, he can make some good partners, some good pairings. But it's kind of more the same. But AJ had nothing to do on Raw. He had nothing to do on Raw, and then the scripts just wasn't leading. We wasn't going to see AJ versus Alistair. We wasn't going to see the stuff that we probably would have wanted to see. We wasn't going to see AJ versus Andrade. So we
already saw AJ versus Alistair.
Yeah, it was a great match actually. It was
not really.
Was it that was I enjoyed it.
All I remember is that the Undertaker interfered.
Yeah,
and that the Good Brothers interfered throughout the.
That's why it went down some, because I enjoyed it until I think we knew that the Undertaker was coming. That's why it kind of took away some of the enjoyment for us. But no rivalry for them. No rivalry with Andrade. No rivalry with nothing. Well, we done saw the whole Seth Rollins saga. So there's nothing really left for AJ on Raw. So I don't see anything wrong with it.
Krssi, what's your thoughts on the fans in the crowd at Raw, them taking a cue from AEW?
Sure did. I was looking at that. I was like, oh, so now we're not only gonna put crap glass, customer service glass in front of them, we're going to make them stand the whole show. Great. You make these people stand for 3 hours. Wow.
More than 3 hours. They taped 9 hours of taping that day. I guess we should move on.
You definitely should, because
that's the annoying thing. Just one real quick. Just the annoying thing about having them in it. Clearly, they know they watch AEW now, so we clearly see that they watch it. But what makes it annoying is that the fans that's in WWE, Raw, NXT, and we're going to see it on SmackDown, they're programmed. They're so programmed. Like their cheers and boos are so staged. Like it's like they literally got applause in boo sections. It's
yes!
I much rather, I prefer how AEW does it. They put the heels on one side, the heels cheer for the heels, they boo the faces, they put the faces on one side, they cheer for the faces, they boo the heels.
So good.
I do not want to see one of our Lord and Savior's disciples, Jessamine Duke, cheering for Asuka. I do not want to see that ever again. Please don't do that ever again.
Are they gonna do it again?
Oh, it's gonna happen. Yeah, it's gonna happen every week. A
Yeah.
program. Applause. Boo.
It's like they put up a card, like applause. Boo.
Yeah, that was like TV show shit. Like that straight TV shit.
Yep.
We're wrestling fans. We read this shit in 2 seconds.
It's like a talk show almost. Okay, guys, ready? And they have the person that says, "Get ready to applaud, guys." And they want you to give more, give more, give more. That's them. That's what they did, basically.
So top news.
So sad. But obviously, it's a one up for Cody because guess what? They're watching you, friends. So just keep doing better.
They've been watching.
Yes.
I mean, but you at least get to see that they acknowledged it now.
Correct. Cool. Exactly.
I mean, they acknowledged it when they put the camera where they put it. So it was only a matter of time before they did this. So we got to get into our top news. Our top news is, of course, about last night's Dynamite with the artist formerly known as the Revival. Now they are officially known as FTR. Last night on Dynamite, we had a 6-man tag opener with Broken Matt and the Young Bucks versus Joey Janela and Private Party. After the match, Butcher and Blade attacked the Young Bucks after Matt super kicked them during the match. Then we heard an engine running and a black truck pulled up to the arena. Much better than how Cody pulled up a couple of weeks ago. I just want to mention. Out walks the Revolt, a.k.a. the artist formerly known as the Revival, Dax Hartwood and Cash Wheeler, and they were being called FTR. And they did not attack the Young Bucks. They stared off with the Young Bucks and instead attacked Butcher and the Blade. They gave Blade a spike power driver. And then after the Butcher received the super kick party from the Young Bucks, they gave him a shatter machine. They had another stare off between the two teams. And then FTR walked off. What was your guys' thoughts on the AEW debut of FTR? We'll start off with you, Top Guy JJ.
Top guys done right, bro. Like it's damn. Like they just listen. Like the FTR has been wearing this on their fucking trunks for the better part of a year. Just let them roll with their own ideas. But no, we're going to go with the no flips and fists. We're going to go with the Revival. We're going to go with fucking acid shit up their ass for comedy effects.
Well, to be fair, FTR was never their idea.
I know it was, but this is something. Listen, that's what I'm just saying. Just listen. Like they have adapted something that just rang off, and it just goes with them so perfect. Like saying FTR to me is so much better than the Revolt. It's so much better than the Revolt. And just their aura and their entrance and just the way they just popped onto the scene. 2 bad dudes looking to knuckle up, looking to brawl out. And that's what we got. Give us what we see. And that's what we saw. They knuckled up, fucked up this. I don't know what the fuck Butcher and Blade was wearing, first of all. Like, what the fuck was that? But we saw what we wanted to see, and then they left us with blue balls. That's how you do a story. Like, that's how you do it. Just tickle it, like little tickle it real quick, and then just walk out. Let that shit build up through Fyter Fest, through All Out. Like, let's go. Like, this is what we've been wanting forever.
Krssi
Love
Love,
it.
what did you think about FTR not touching the Young Bucks during this whole angle?
Let's let it wait. Gotta let it play out. Let them draw it out. We need that story to build up. Like, it's amazing. I was actually shocked that they didn't come during Double or Nothing, but I'm actually happy that they came out last night. Great way they came out, like he said, two bad dudes. Just it was done marvelous. I think bravo to them for like doing it that way. And yeah, just give them a good stare down. We don't need to fight right now. We can wait. Let it just pan out, build it up.
So where do you guys see this matchup, this long anticipated? It's been 4 years of anticipation for FTR versus the Young Bucks. Where do you see it taking place?
I absolutely see it happening at All Out. Like, there's
All
no
Out?
way this match does not happen at All Out. This
I
match
agree
goes
with
down at All Out.
I agree with you.
When is All Out?
That seems like the place for it, but how do they stretch it out? So one good thing I did listen to today, Wrestling Observer Radio, Uncle Dave Meltzer and Cousin Brian, they talked about AEW Dynamite, and they agree with us. They said that All Out is AEW's big show. That's the show that
Is
started
it?
Absolutely.
that All In is the show that started all of this. So,
Oh yeah, that is true. You're right. Okay,
Absolutely.
that makes sense.
All Out is really like their anniversary show. It's their biggest show of the year. So that is the
Okay.
perfect to have the match. But how do they get from May to September? So the great idea that Uncle Dave came up with. No, I think it was Cousin Brian. I'm not sure. You guys can listen to it if you want. Find out which one it was. But one of them said that the perfect way to build this up and to have them not touch each other for so long is that the FTR decides they want to go through every single tag team that the Young Bucks has either beaten or been beaten by to prove that they are better than the Young Bucks until they get to the Young Bucks. I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I was saying, that would be great. Is like every night on Dynamite they're just gonna beat up someone else?
Well, have a match, or they can
That's
build
okay.
it up, separate it, by a couple of weeks. But Private Party has defeated the Young Bucks in AEW.
Right.
SCU has defeated the Young Bucks. Proud and Powerful has defeated the Young Bucks. Hangman and Omega has defeated the Young Bucks. So
There's a couple of people to go through.
there's a couple of different teams that they can go through before they get to the Young Bucks. So what do you think about that, JJ?
I honestly, like, I just think that they should just honestly just go ahead and just book the damn match for All Out and then just build up straight to it. Like, we've seen build up, we've seen long mitigated buildups happen. They could go in all these multiverse matches that involves them, but just not having them added together. And I could, like, they can just literally go into a rivalry with SCU. They could do something with SCU. The Young Bucks can go and chase the tag. They can get into another turmoil tournament, chase the Kenny, and I would love to see another match with the Young Bucks and Kenny and Hangman. I would love to see one more go around with that. I mean, I'd see more. I see many meaningful storylines happening that they can probably do, or just make them allies, fake allies. Like, you can make them fake allies. It's so many things. I mean, it's so many possibilities, but how do you, like you said, I wouldn't really know how to make it 4 month meaningful to keep the tag team division main event status, because that's what this match would be, main event status.
I like Uncle Dave's idea. Uncle Dave's idea sounds much better than Top Guy JJ's. Anyway, we got to move on to Matt Riddle. Matthew Riddle, the original bro, the king of bros, is now going over to the home of the Lynches, over to SmackDown. How ironic.
Great.
Last night on NXT, the main event was the blow-off of the feud between Matt Riddle and Timothy Thatcher. A rumor circulated early in the week that it would be the blow-off due to WWE having plans to move Matt Riddle to SmackDown as early as this week's episode. These rumors started after word got out that SmackDown showrunner Bruce Pritchard had asked for AJ Styles and Matt Riddle to be brought over to the show, with talent now sitting out due to the current pandemic, including Roman Reigns and former Intercontinental Champion Sami Zayn. So what do you think of this rumor of Matt Riddle coming over to SmackDown? I think that the Tru Heel gods are looking down on us right now. So I have to take it over to the princess of all the Tru Heels, Miss Krssi Love. What are your thoughts on the rumors of Riddle to SmackDown?
I'm very, very sad that he's going to leave and now come to SmackDown. Um, I'm sure my children will probably love him. Um, but I think it's unfortunate that he's a talented person that has to now go by SmackDown and just have to go sit over there and just hopefully don't get lost in the trenches like Shayna Baszler.
I don't think Shayna's lost in the trenches. You just obviously see that Vince is not as high on her as Triple H was in NXT.
Correct.
So,
I don't think he likes much of the NXT people, and then he doesn't really do much with them when they come over.
well, how about you, top guy?
I love it.
Really?
Actually, yes. I'm thinking the newly acquired AJ Styles and Matt Riddle would have a phenomenal program together. I am dying to see him and Daniel Bryan knuckle it up in a few matches. This would be phenomenal. And I do think this is somebody that can physically challenge Braun Strowman to his limits. Matt Riddle can mix up with anybody on the brand, and it would be amazing. And how cool would Shinsuke Nakamura versus Matt Riddle be? There are some matches on here that's got some mother freaking potential. I'm just Matt Riddle, the bro, is about to make SmackDown a whole lot better as a wrestling brand if this rumor is true.
We'll see. I'll let you know.
In my opinion, this is the best news that has happened to SmackDown in quite some time, in my opinion, because they needed a spark. They needed someone new to come over. I'm sorry, AJ Styles coming over to SmackDown is great. It's great. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see a lot for AJ to do even on SmackDown. And whereas Matt Riddle, everything is fresh. Everything is new. He's never been here before. And Matt Riddle has even said that he wants to go to SmackDown. He said in a recent interview that he's already encountered the market of USA. He's kind of taken it over. He's been one of the top guys, the top ratings guys on NXT for these past couple of months. So he's already been on USA. He wants to go over to a new market. He wants to go over to SmackDown and be that star. And then what did we hear about SmackDown before they came over to Fox? Oh, they wanted to have a sports feel. Oh, they want people that are legitimate, that are real.
Mm-hmm.
That's Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle is Matt Riddle on camera. He's Matt Riddle off camera. He's a former UFC star. He's a former star on Ultimate Fighter. He's got an MMA background. He's cool among kids. Matt Riddle just checks too many boxes that I think that I'm hoping that this is a very rare NXT call-up success story. But what do you guys think? Krssi Love, do you think he's going to be a rare NXT call-up success story or another in a long line of call-up failures?
That's what I'm hoping. I don't want to. Their track record is not really good, and I hope it's not a failure.
How about you, JJ?
I'm gonna hope that this is a turn for the new. As long as Vince McMahon can somehow keep his fucking fingers off of this. I hope. But yeah, the record of NXT call-ups is not good. But I do hope that this different attitude, this different vibe will change that. And I just want to see him have some great programs. I want to see him have, I'm not saying he's got to be in title pictures immediately, but if him being in great programs, that could do a lot for his him being explored, and then when the fans come back for some SmackDown to really be unique.
Absolutely. Krssi, before we wrap this topic up, who's the one person you would like to see Riddle feud with on SmackDown? We heard from JJ. We're going to hear from you.
I wouldn't mind seeing Riddle and Shinsuke. I can see that one.
Shinsuke. I'm gonna go with Riddle versus Cesaro. Riddle versus Cesaro is just guaranteed to be a great match. But also, when he returns, Riddle versus Roman, that needs to be in front of fans. I'm sorry. That's one.
You can't have that one.
You cannot have Riddle versus Roman not in front of fans. So that will be a big matchup for SmackDown in the future, in my opinion, if Riddle gets his call up. So week 32 of the Wednesday Night War. This is the time of Tru Heel Heat, where we tell you, the viewers, the ratings for the Wednesday Night War between AEW Dynamite and WWE NXT. We review what happened on both shows, and we decide what was the better show as far as quality for the week. So as far as the ratings war, drum roll, please. Let's count on you for that. AEW Dynamite with 827,000 viewers. 827,000 viewers is its highest in a number of weeks. NXT is also up with 731,000 viewers. WWE NXT had the great pit fight between Thatcher choking out Matt Riddle in the cage fight main event with Kurt Angle as the referee.
He lost his tooth.
That was a work.
Come on, friend. Jesus Christ. Go ahead.
You see how he doesn't let you live with the feeling that you get?
I'm just saying, they literally showed Thatcher with broken teeth last week. He broke his teeth. Oh my god. Anyway, Drake Maverick.
Don't want me to be great, you know? Go ahead.
Drake Maverick wins the Group A three-way finals to face Phantasma next week for the interim NXT Cruiserweight title. Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream, as well as Keith Lee versus Johnny Gargano, made official for NXT TakeOver in Your House on June 7th. AEW Dynamite, as we said before, it had FTR debuting, having their showdown with the Young Bucks. It also had Tyson Jericho have a pull-apart brawl to set up a match. It had Havoc and Sabian beat SCU to win an AEW World Tag Team title shot next week. And Jungle Boy wins a Battle Royal to face Cody next week for the TNT Championship. But our one final note, most important of all, Goat Baker will return at AEW All Out. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Goat Baker is coming back. So, Top Guy JJ, we'll start off with you this week. What was the better show for the week for you?
Oh, my God. That cage fight was really almost swaying me. The cage fight was swaying me, but I'm going to go I'm going with AEW's because of the start. And then surprisingly, I feel like they put the spotlight on tag team wrestling this week. Like they put the spotlight, like that match with Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc and SCU was fun as hell. Like that was a really surprising. I thought it was way better than I anticipated it to be. And then you got the highlight of FTR and the Bucks. I think that they put an emphasis on celebrating tag team wrestling, even if it was inadvertent or if it was directly. And the set, like I didn't feel like there was many dull moments in AEW. I just kind of was swaying towards NXT with that fucking Tyson and Jericho shit. That shit was awful. This was the Inner Circle's worst segment.
Really?
Since they have. This was not.
I wouldn't even. I can't even say Inner Circle because that part of it was great. That was funny.
Yeah, that part was great.
It was literally the moment Tyson came out that shit went off the rails and it came back.
Like,
bless you.
He couldn't even take his fucking shirt off.
I was like, why is this old man like here? Stop it! Like he might look like he could punch the crap out of me, but he's still old. He's still an old man. He's not like, like a wrestler's, 50-something-year-old. Like, he's just like, he just looked like he just looked like he was like not there.
So how about you, Krssi? What was the better show for the week for you?
I had it with NXT. Like, I had them as their better show. And
Okay.
then they had because I love the whole premise of the show. I think the promo with Keith Lee and I loved it. I thought that was great against the corny Garganos.
That was the worst part of the show for me.
Really?
Trash.
I
Yeah,
like that part of.
That shit was goat
I
trash.
hate
I hate
sports
Johnny
comedy for
Gargano.
That shit.
I hate sports comedy. I hate it.
That shit was basura.
Basuda. Okay, well, I had liked it. I love it. I liked the cage match. I thought it was great. This is my turn now. My turn.
Yes. We're back. We're back up. We're back up.
My turn. Thank you.
We're back up.
But I think I love the whole inner circle. He gave Peeps chopped cheese, son. Like, he gave
And then Excalibur with the
yes,
Yo, the funniest part about that whole thing was fucking
I was watching Diaz Zamero.
when Santana gave fucking Hager the discounted Tims.
Yo,
He
like,
said,
discount.
yo, these are fresh Tims. They the discounted kind, but they fresh.
My favorite part was Jericho giving Sammy the hit me up mobile.
Yeah, the scooter. Yo, he needs a scooter.
And giving Ortiz the headphones, and Ortiz saying, I can hear!
And then you hear these motherfuckers, he can hear. He can hear.
Yeah, yo. That's what made me give them the better show. Like, yeah, once Tyson came out, it went downhill.
Tyson fucked it up, man.
He messed up the whole thing, dude. Like, it was so bad. I'm so sorry. Like, their part before Tyson coming out to mess it up was great. Giving them he gave them the Vicks. He was like, yo, my abuela gave me this. My abuela gave this to me. He said, my abuela gave me this too. That's what Jericho. I was like, yo, these guys are great. Whoever's decision to put all of them together is freaking phenomenal. I loved it.
So you gave it to NXT this week.
No, I'm giving it to AEW.
All right. So I'm going to disagree with the both of you. NXT was the better show this week.
Really?
Yes. I loved a lot about AEW. I loved the opening tag, as well as the promo with Matt Hardy and the Elite. I loved the FTR debut. I really, really, really enjoyed that battle royal. That was one of the best battle royals that I've seen in quite some time. Jungle Boy looked like a star. MJF looked like a star. Orange Cassidy looked like a star. I liked Cage's debut. I liked John Moxley and Taz's little exchange. And I liked everything with the Inner Circle up until Tyson came out. Tyson was that big of a factor. He is literally the reason why I am giving NXT the win this week. Because NXT, although they had the Gargano parody, which was not funny. It was not funny to me. I did not find it funny. I thought it was very corny. But everything else hit to me. I like the build up between Cross and Tommaso. I love the Zoom call between Regal and Adam Cole.
Yes, me too.
They have great chemistry together. I like the three-way matchup. It was just a whole bunch of moves. That finish made absolutely no sense, though. How the hell does Kushida have an armbar where his legs are laying over the guy's shoulders, and then Drake Mavericks just puts an arm over the same guy, and they count the 1, 2, 3 and give the win to Drake? It should have been a double pin. They both were pinning Atlas. It just, that's beside the point.
I thought Drake Maverick was fired. What happened?
It was an storyline. To answer our question from a couple of top newses ago, yes, that is officially a work. That was officially a storyline. But my prediction for it is that Drake wins next week against Phantasma and becomes new interim NXT Cruiserweight Champion, and then loses to Kushida in his first defense.
Okay. Sure.
And I am completely over NXT in this whole segue until this tournament is over.
Hey, it's over next week. Don't worry. But
I can't do it. Like,
main reason I'm giving this week to NXT, the cage fight. The cage fight,
Cage fight was awesome.
Special.
The
The
Special.
cage
NXT
was
10
great.
fight, that was amazing. It was
They should
great.
make all of the cages like that, like the little platform area.
The structure was
Yeah.
amazing. It gave me reminiscent of the Lions Den.
Mhm.
These guys went out there and worked. I love the little moment, the work moment of the broken teeth, because it added to the element of the realism of this. I love the MMA exchanges between both men. Both men are just born to do that type of wrestling.
Yeah.
It was honestly the best match NXT has had on since last year, honestly.
Ooh,
Yes,
ouch.
the best match on NXT TV in 2020 was Riddle versus Thatcher, in my opinion.
Damn,
So
son.
that's
You're
why
such a harsh critic,
It was
yo.
good. It was good. It was good. It
I
was
am
good.
giving it to NXT for this week. What we got to move on, WWE news. PW Insider reports that Drew Gulak has already re-signed with WWE and will appear on this upcoming SmackDown episode.
You know
Figured
what?
that one out. That wasn't hard.
Ugh.
Hey, another Nia
Look
Jax
at my
incident.
drink.
Another Nia Jax incident has occurred. During the most recent Raw TV taping, Kairi Sane faced Nia Jax again. During the match, Kairi was thrown into the steel steps and her head hit the corner, splitting her open. Uncle Dave notes that no one in WWE is blaming Nia for this, but apparently she was involved in the match. Hey, whatever you guys want to
So
believe
how did
about
she
that.
get her? So who helped her get her head bashed into the staircase?
Nyla just helped her get there. That's on her. That was on her.
Okay. Go ahead.
Besides, Vince McMahon was reportedly behind delaying having developmental talent in the crowd due to the small arena that is the PC being able to spread the virus very easily.
Oh, guys,
So
my doorbell is going off.
he had good reasoning for it. Vince is also the person that insisted that there is a barrier between those talent and the ringside area, as well as the talent not having chairs. That was all on Vince. WWE has already started making plans for their live event schedule after the pandemic ends, and WWE also has an intense schedule for this coming week, as they will be continuing to tape a few weeks of TV over the next week.
Really?
Yes. AEW news. Among the Tyson posse last night on Dynamite was MMA stars Henry Cejudo, as well as Victor Belfort, UFC Hall of Famer Rashad Evans, and actor Mickey Gooch, who was that idiot with the black face paint on his face, which pissed me off more than anything about this segment. I just want to say that. Also, Krssi, I don't know if you noticed, our boy 24 from Jersey Shore was a part of the pull apart brawl.
No.
24, Zach Clayton, the boyfriend of Jay Wow. I was incorrect. I said earlier that it's ex-boyfriend, but good shout out to Jessica V. She corrected me. They are still together. They're quarantined together. So yes, 24 was a part of the posse that was separating Tyson and Jericho last night.
What? Wow.
Action. AEW watches Tru Heel Heat. MMA star Chris Cyborg took to Twitter to request joining the Tyson entourage in AEW. The injury to Mark Quinn of Private Party last night on Dynamite was a work. It was just to get Matt Hardy away from the ring for the FTR debut. Impact Wrestling news. The Virtuoso, Deonna Purrazzo, debuts in Impact Wrestling this week during a vignette, so congrats to her. She bounced back very quickly. NWA news. On the second episode of NWA Carneyland, NWA President Billy Corgan announces that they will be having an election to determine the first mayor of Carneyland. So check out the third episode to find out how that election is going to take place. And then in other news, we have Brian Myers, aka Kurt Hawkins, has announced that he will be making his first post-WWE appearance at WrestlePro Alaska show on September 19th. So congrats to him. He's bouncing back very quickly from his WWE release. So finally, that brings us to our last segment. Since we talked about all the news, we are here to bring you some happiness. All three of us have prepared our own personal top 3 happiest wrestling moments. Top 3. So how I think we're going to do it, we're going to each go around. We'll each do the same number at the same time. So we'll say, what is your number 3? We'll start off with Krssi Love. We'll work it around. We'll say, what's the number 2? Start off with Krssi Long, work it around, and then finally our number 1. We are doing this to bring you some happiness, to bring you some happy memories, because there's been a lot of sadness, a lot of loss in the wrestling community. So we are here to remind you of all the happy times in professional wrestling. We don't get too many right now in this pandemic era, so we have to bring it to you and remind you on Tru Heel Heat. So, Miss Krssi Love, we'll start off with you. What is your number 3 happiest wrestling moment?
What my number 3 happiest wrestling moment has to be, and we talked about this yesterday, the match Made in Heaven. Macho Man getting married to Miss Elizabeth. I love that wedding. I loved everything about it. Me as a little girl thinking that they really were getting married for real when they were already married. I love everything about it, and just being that whole element, everyone commentated everything, the dress, his outfit, all of the above. I think is one of the happiest moments. Going back as my number 3.
Top guy JJ, hit us with your number 3. That's a good one. I like
Thank you.
that one a lot. That's one of the rare wrestling weddings that did not have any like surprise ending or surprise twist at the end. It was just the reception did.
Well, the
The wedding
reception did, but
itself
the wedding itself went good. Yes, that you're absolutely right.
without a hitch. Top guy JJ, your number 3.
Oh, I can't wait to hear your 2 and 1. That one is powerful. The match Made in Heaven. Oh man, my number 3 wrestling moment that was like happiest for me. Like this was during the Attitude Era for me watching this, and I was a sucker for this storyline because I'm a young teenager. Is when Stephanie McMahon was about to become a sacrificial. She was about to become a sacrificial bride to the Undertaker in the unholy wedding.
That is a great one.
And
Yes.
out of all people, Stone Cold Steve Austin saved the wedding. And the reaction that Stephanie had when she was untied, she looked like her life just got saved.
Yeah.
And then you just see Vince McMahon just thank you. Like it generally looked like a kidnapping was just saved. And that was like, oh shit, like this was awesome. This was pretty dope. So if I pick number 3, that's my number 3 moment.
I like that. I like that one a lot. That's like it brought a smile immediately to my face remembering that one. I remember being like 11 years old and coming to my day camp the following day like, yo, you saw it? Austin saved the day. Absolutely. Good times right there. My number 3 happiest wrestling moment is probably the earliest one, more or less, I can remember. Like, really, really happy. I was a part of the build up to it, and it has to be the boyhood dream comes true as Shawn Michaels Bret the Hitman Hart at WrestleMania 12 in the Iron Man match. I have like fierce memories about it. I'll talk about it more on True Rewind as we relive some of those moments. But I remember hating Owen Hart when he gave Shawn Michaels the insecurity that caused his concussion that had Shawn Michaels out for a number of months. I remember the tell me a lie and tell me all your dreams. Yeah, I remember all that. The whole vignette they did with the emotional music for Shawn, his return at the Royal Rumble, winning the Royal Rumble in 1996, and then that classic Iron Man match. Not the best to look back on in 2020 eyes, but in 1996, it was a classic. It was great. It was one of the best matches in WrestleMania history. But the moment itself of Shawn holding the belt, looking at the belt like it was a child, is one of my happiest wrestling moments.
Good one. That was a great one.
Good one. And I didn't pick that one because I was such a Bret Hart fan. So that was not my boyhood dream.
Happens. All right. So, Miss Krssi, hit us with your number 2 happiest wrestling moment.
One of this one was a hard one for number 2. However, I'm going to give it to another Stone Cold moment is when he put cement in Vince McMahon's car.
Oh, okay.
That one, for me as a kid, I'm like, nah, he's not really gonna do that to this man's car. But he had to because Vince McMahon was just being such an asshole and just was like in Stone Cold's way, and just like Stone Cold was just beating every obstacle that was in front of him from Vince McMahon. And once he put the cement in the car and then the windows busted out, I was like, wow, like this man has a lot of money to replace this car. And I think it's a great moment for me.
I dig it. I dig it. It's one of those funny, it's definitely a funny wrestling moment for sure to look back
Yeah.
on, especially Vince's reaction to
Yes.
His Corvette being ruined. How about you, Top Guy JJ? Your number 2 most happiest wrestling moment.
Let's see. My number 2. This one is actually what I was calling in my mind like the most proper send off, and I believe this is still the greatest retirement ever. Was the retirement ceremony of Ric Flair.
Yes.
Like this here hit all cylinders for me for wrestling. And when you get to see the Four Horsemen come out, you get to see Triple H come out, you get to see Shawn Michaels come out. And this was the first time that I have ever seen personally Undertaker become one of the boys. When the Undertaker came out, I was like, this is awesome. Like this is special right here. This is beautiful. Like it was just surrounded with joy, with happiness, with celebration, and he got the send off that he truly deserved. Like there was no retirement ceremony that was done up like that one. And that right there was the only retirement ceremony that had me watery when I was watching it, because it was like the respect this man had was unmatchable. So that to me was like, that will always live in my head forever.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, man.
I think some fans will say it's a happy moment. Some others will say it was sad to see Ric Flair go, but
Yeah.
definitely a memory that sticks out in everyone's mind for sure.
I call it a happy moment because he got the roses while he still can.
Yes.
He got the roses, he got the acknowledgement, he got the celebration while he is still coherent enough to accept it all.
Yep.
And we don't celebrate his life while he's gone. We celebrated it in his face, and it was beautiful.
I like it. I dig it. So before we go through our number 1, I'll give my number 2. We'll just go around and we'll name like 1 or 2 honorable mentions as well. So
Okay.
my number 2, I had to go back in time. I was originally gonna say one that I will mention in my honorable mentions, but this one I was a lot more happier for. I am going to one that probably is one you would have to go back to the WWE Network to remember, but it's not even from the WWE. It's from WCW. I was a big WCW mark in 1995 through the end of the whole run with them. But my guy from probably before 1995, when I first discovered WCW, the first feud I ever saw was Vader versus Sting. And I was a Sting guy. I wanted to be like Sting. I dressed up like the Crow Sting when I was 9 years old for Halloween. Yes, I was a black kid with a white face. Yes. Yes. I am a Sting mark. So my greatest memory of being so happy for Sting is Uncensored 1997. In the lead up to Uncensored 1997, there was rumors that Sting had joined the NWO, that he had turned his back on WCW. He was seen during promos behind the NWO members. He was basically trying to lull them into a false sense of security, because after the NWO wins at Uncensored 1997 in the main event, Sting comes down from the rafters, pops up in the ring, and he just stands there. It's like a standoff. Hogan's outside with Rodman. Hogan tells Hall and Nash to get in the ring and go after him. And Sting finally attacks the NWO for the first time ever. Goosebumps. The adrenaline. Like, this was my first moment of, like, the excitement of anything. The twist of story. This is my first memory of it. I was only 9 years old, and I was in love with Sting, and I loved him even more after he attacked the NWO.
Dude, how long did this take? Like, how long did it take for Sting to finally pick a side?
He left WCW the night after Fall Brawl 1996 in September. October, November, December, January, March of 1997. It took him to finally
7
say,
months.
I am on the side of WCW. It's one of the best build-ups of all time. And it really, the kickoff of his sparking of the Sting versus Hogan and the fans wanting that starts right at Uncensored 1997. So
Definitely.
before we go around and give our number one most happiest wrestling moment in history, we're going to go around and name one or two honorable mentions that give you a smile when you remember it. Miss Krssi Love, I'll give you some time to think about it. We'll start off with
I know I have it.
Oh, you have one? Okay.
Yeah, I have one. My honorable one is when I think DX had like really first started, and I think they're playing cards in the ring, and I think it's like strip poker, and then they got to start taking their clothes off, and China won. It was amazing. It was amazing. Like, this is like before, like, this is plain China. This is before she got like all dolled up and everything. This is like early DX, and Shawn had lost, and he had to take off all his clothes. It's great classic wrestling storytelling at its finest. I loved it.
And they beat down the headbangers.
Yes. Great stuff. Great stuff. Love it. Just put the smile on my face still.
Top guy JJ?
Of course.
Seeing Shawn all naked.
Throws my whole head in a fucking loop because first she's fucking infatuated with Dexter Loomis, and then she comes up with another naked man's pop up. Of course, you know this is the balance that we're gonna get, and you know this is the balance that we're gonna get.
I'm just saying, you know.
My honorable mention, and I was going back and forth with it a lot, but I had to just kind of nump it out. But this was just so personal for me, was just seeing the Hardy Boys return at WrestleMania 33. When I saw the Hardy Boys make that return, and it was real, like they're finally gonna come home and just finish out what their unfinished business was, and just that pop, just the happiness from everyone in that building was that was the loudest thing I've ever heard in one time in one sitting. Like that was amazing. So that was up there with me, but seeing things in my past was like not gonna let me put that up there.
Understandable. It is understandable. The honorable mention that I was mentioning earlier, it's not the one I wanted to mention here, but the one I had in my list before I kind of reshuffled everything was Stone Cold. Going back to the old Stone Cold during the invasion angle after getting a talk from Vince McMahon in a bar, and they're having the whole big melee between the WWF and the Alliance, and Stone Cold pulls up in his pickup truck and just goes off, and then when the glass shatters, I still get goosebumps just thinking about it. That pop is ridiculous. So I just talked about that pop. JJ just talked about probably the biggest pop I've ever been a part of at WrestleMania 33 with the Hardys returning. But my own personal honorable mention is the pop of myself, where I felt myself like having 1,000 people pop, was the debut of UFC Hall of Famer. The former Raw Women's Champion.
And I thought I was done with drinking for the day.
The baddest woman on the planet, Ronda Rousey. JJ was right next to me, just a couple of seats away. I lost it. I literally had myself, I was recording myself, and all the recording is the phone shaking with me like, it was an out-of-body experience. Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania 34.
This man just said happiest moments ever was her coming out at the end of a pay-per-view that meant nothing.
I said WrestleMania 34, so obviously you weren't listening, so that's okay. Anyway, Miss Krssi Love.
I kind of did stop listening after WrestleMania, after Ronda Rousey. Once I heard the Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
I kind of stopped listening.
That just says a lot about your hearing, more than what you're listening to. Miss Krssi Love, what is your happiest wrestling moment in history?
My happiest wrestling moment had to be going to Evolution. The all women's pay-per-view. Just seeing all little girls, all women's of all types of walk that love wrestling. We got dressed up. We had a ladies' brunch. I had a great time that day. It was a very special day just to see all these ladies come out, just to see all women's pay-per-view, just to like headline and just give a great show. And I really enjoyed that show. I thought it was one of their better pay-per-views of that year per se. It just puts a smile on my face to see all these ladies together. I look back on those pictures and I think we had a great time and we were all together, and I just see like little girls just like happy to just be wrestling fans, you know, and they have an outlet and they can watch wrestling. So that's my number one.
Love it. That's a good one. That's
Thank
a
you.
recent one. So I'm not the
Yeah.
most recent.
Like 2 years ago.
Top guy JJ.
I was torn between two at number one, and one didn't even make my list, which is kind of crazy because I really wanted to do the return of Elizabeth at WrestleMania 7. That was like
Oh,
that one hits my heart in so many ways.
That's an
But
honorable one.
I wanted to stick to something very personal.
Okay.
And it was the very first pay-per-view that I attended when it felt like ECW was alive for one more night at ECW One Night Stand of 2005. Like, the fans' atmosphere was I can never get over how that felt. Just with seeing my old favorites, like seeing the Lionheart come out, seeing Lionheart and Lance Storm, and then I'll just kind of skip past. We got to see Eddie and Chris Benoit have a classic match during that night as well. But then to have the entire building mark out to the Sandman's entrance, that was wrestling unity at its finest. Like you can never take that 5 minutes away from us. You can never ever in your life take that 5 minutes away from us. It was the crowd. It was the crowning moment of my wrestling experiences so far. And I'm just going to keep it personal with that one because that was my happiest moment as a wrestling fan. Like, that was beautiful.
Good one, friend.
Love it. That's a really good one. The ECW One Night Stand 2005, one of the greatest events in WWE history. My number one to kind of wrap this all up, it's kind of a two-sided one, kind of, because from my first like earliest memories getting back into wrestling around like 2005 2006, the first like show I ever went, I went to a few like WWE ECW type of shows in 2006, but the first major like show that I remember going to outside of the WWE was Ring of Honor Final Battle 2006. I went with our good friend over from the All Elite Recap, Marcus Cash. That was our first ever independent wrestling event together, and it was the biggest show in ROH's year. And the main event was all about Homicide winning the ROH World Title in the main event. But there was someone he was versing that I had saw a lot of, that I saw classic matches of on DVDs, doing my research of Ring of Honor for like a year and a half before I went to this event. And he was the guy that stood out the most to me. That guy then, I think 8 years later, became the biggest underdog in professional wrestling history. So my number one memory of all time is WrestleMania 30 and the end, the Bourbon Street Miracle coming true as Danny O'Brien defeated Triple H, Batista, Randy Orton, all in one night. To see someone in a small building like the Hammerstein Ballroom, 1,000 people in the building, but the moment he came out, and he was the biggest heel in the company, everyone stood on their feet. And like how JJ describes with the Enter the Sandman entrance, the only thing that has come close to that since then is Bryan Danielson's entrance in Ring of Honor to Final Countdown. Everyone stood on their feet.
Oh my God.
It's the final countdown.
And everyone sang him to the ring. He would not get onto the ropes until it hit that note. And it's the final countdown. Just feeling that unity. Like, that was my greatest, before All In and going to New Japan events, all AEW, my favorite memories of going to wrestling events was Ring of Honor when Bryan Danielson was on top. So to see someone in 1,000-seat building go all the way to WrestleMania in New Orleans in front of 70,000 and be a 13-time world champion and two of the biggest stars of the past 2 decades, That's it. Daniel
Yeah.
Bryan winning the undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Championship is by far my happiest wrestling moment. I was here. I was here in New York watching it back at my apartment with my nephew. My nephew got on the couch and was screaming, "Yes! Yes! Yes!" One of my friends was a big Randy Orton fan. Shout outs to him, Laurent. And my nephew chanted yes in front of his face. Like, yes, he won! Yes! My nephew is now 18 years old. Back then, he was only, 12, 13 years old. So the youth was in him, and he represented us in his youth. He was screaming yes. Is one of my happiest moments. I got to spend it with my family, my friends, and just watch my favorite wrestler of all time win the big one by far.
Nice. Love it.
Still
So
one of WWE's greatest stories. That's one of WWE's greatest stories.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. So you guys in the comments section, we want to hear from you. Put down below your top 3 happiest wrestling moments. We only want to see happy wrestling moments in the comments section for Tru Heel Heat 76. So put those down below. But we got to wrap things up on this episode of Tru Heel Heat. What you got coming to to the channel right now, or you could check it out right now, is our AEW Double or Nothing 2020 pay-per-view roundtable with myself, Marcus Cash, and Romeo. Undertaker The Last Ride Chapter 3 review with myself and Romeo, my exclusive interview with MLW commentator AJ Kirsch for Tru Heel's BTR, and the latest True Rewind AE recap. Dark Power and SmackDown with the Lynches are all up, and next Wednesday we will have our first Dark Side of the Ring Season 1 review as we cover the match made in heaven, the story of the Macho Man Randy Savage and Miss Elizabeth, with, of course, Miss Krssi Love and a special guest, Top Guy JJ. So, Miss Krssi, Top Guy, tell them where they can follow you online.
You can find me. I am the Sensation Miss Krssi Love. You can find me on IG, Facebook, and on Twitter, Miss Krssi Love _ or Miss Krssi Love, Crystal Lynch.
All right, and at Instagram, I am Tru Heel _ Top Guy JJ. At Facebook, I am simply Justin Johnson.
And of course, you can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Tru Heel Heat. You can follow me at Tru Heel _ Epic SP3. You can follow Battle Club Pro over on YouTube. Subscribe to their YouTube channel, as well as on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as the Pro Wrestling Spotlight over on Facebook and Instagram. You could subscribe to my good friend Jimmy Macaram. We're doing a whole bunch of cool reviews now. We're checking out our Ozark on Netflix. So if you've been watching and enjoying that, we are reviewing that now. So check that out. So, and you could also subscribe to My Battery is Dying. Marcus Cash has his own YouTube channel. God bless YouTube. Hopefully they're safe. iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, iHeartRadio. You can listen to Tru Heel Heat. If you are listening right now to this episode, we appreciate you listening. And please make us one of your favorite podcasts on wherever you are listening right now. And of course, one last reminder to you guys, if you made it this far into the video, push that like button. It helps the YouTube channel grow. Push the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified for all the great content right here on Tru Heel Heat. So for Miss Krssi Love, for Top Guy JJ, it is me, your Tru Heel Phenom SP3. Until Tru Heel Heat 77 next week, we are signing off for Tru Heel Heat 76. Until next time.